Welcome to another episode of Beyond Cheaters of Detective Gomez Files. I'm your host, Detective Gomez, and today we have a wonderful guest that's going to be on our show today. She's going to talk about a relationship that she just got out of, and I think you may learn something from this because it's definitely something for educational and informative at the same time. So let's not waste any time. Let's get Miss Tina on the air right now. Let's see how she's going to educate us. Tina, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Very, very good, very good. Thank you for being a part of the podcast today. Now, Tina, let me ask you a couple of questions.
Okay.
Relationships are never easy.
No.
As we get older in life, they're never easy, right?
Yeah, they're difficult sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this guy that you met in our pre-interview. You said you met him at church. I guess a lot of people say I've heard people, women tell me in the past, the next time I want to meet some guy, I want to meet him in church just because I know he's going to be a good guy. But that didn't happen in your case, right?
No, not at all. And I met him previously. We went to high school together as
Mhm.
well, but I didn't know him because he wasn't in my crowd.
Okay. Okay. What in your crowd? Okay. So you knew him before. You see him at church. Start talking, and you know, tell me a little bit about. Tell me some good stuff happened. Were there some good times?
He reached out to me on social media, and then from there I was like real standoffish. I wasn't into relationships. I have a baby, that is special needs, so my
Mhm.
focus was on that, and I set my boundaries really high, and he learned how to work them. He was a great manipulator, and he just got right in where he fit in. He painted this pretty picture, and I started trusting him. He showed a lot of interest and very sweet, and he didn't look like the type a player
Or a liar,
or a liar or a cheater or whatever you want to
right?
call them.
Okay. So give us some of the red flags that you saw. Give us some red flags that you saw while you're in this relationship with this guy. Give us a few red flags.
um Like, he would disappear, like, all of a sudden. He would block my calls, like, randomly, like, I didn't give him any reason to. Um, and, what was the other? I caught him in lies. There was a lot of lies.
Caught him in lies. Okay. Let's talk about the biggest lie that you caught him in. You caught him in a really, really big one to where I'm gonna kind of set it up for you a little bit here. You caught him in a big lie where he said that his ex baby's mama was no longer living with him, and then magically he let the baby mom move back in with him because she had no place to go, right? Something like that.
Right, right.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about that.
Um, so I would like ask him like, where you been or what's going on, or he's like, oh my god, there's a lot of drama going on. My baby mama, she moved back in, and she didn't have anywhere to go, and her daughter has problems, so we're just, I'm just gonna let them in. Um I was like, okay, I understand people go through things, and I'm very understanding. And I was like, okay. And I go, what's next? Are you gonna get her apartment? Like, are you gonna help her out, set her up, get her out
Right,
of the house? Like, and I was in the position to say that's a no, because why? We just started dating. So where
right,
was I to say anything like that, right?
right,
But more lies came, and then I would see them at church, like, and he was like, "Why don't you talk to me?" I was like, "I'm not gonna talk to you while your baby mama is there. Like, that is
right,
so disrespectful." But
right,
he made it seem like they weren't together. I guess they had like this weird open relationship. He dated, he had a relationship, she did what she want, but she didn't want him to see him with anybody else, which I found out later on. But there was so much lies after another and another.
right. And lots of times there are some women, not all, but some women sometimes believe it's okay as long as you can go do what you want to do, as long as you pay the bills.
And that's her. She's money hungry and whatever. But I was the type like, hey, I don't do third parties. I cut it off. I don't want to deal with that. I have a daughter to deal with. I don't need drama. So I cut it off, and he would beg me and
Mm,
paint me this beautiful picture. You're the only one I want to talk to, date.
right,
And he would like, I want to see you. Can I talk to you? Please, can we work it out, please? And it asked me if you do that today. He ignores me, like whatever, and they're not even together, which she knows about me now.
Yeah, right. When you go through something like this, and obviously this is not, is this you have you been married before?
I've never been married. I've never been in love until now.
Okay, you're in love. What could you say you're in love with this guy? Do you think so?
Yeah, we have a deep connection. I think it's like a soul tie. It's one of those things that you
Mhm.
separate from someone and then you go back to each other, and there's just that connection, but it's not the right timing and
Right.
everything was just off. And I think that person had a lot of healing to do more than what I had.
Had been married before?
He's never been legally married. He just
Shacks up.
she got pregnant. She got pregnant very young and like close to high school, middle school,
Mhm.
high school, and he had to stay with her. You know the old Hispanic
Yeah, yeah.
way.
Married, and you shack up with them, and you stay with them just because they got pregnant. Yeah,
It's like an arrangement. Like he never
right,
loved her. That wasn't his person.
right. The and I guess he feels obligated to take care of the child because he's been with this woman since the girl's been young, right?
Yeah, like 28 years.
Yeah. So that's a long time to stay with somebody for just because he could have left her after she turned 18 if you wanted to, right?
Yeah, but the girl has like some type of hold on him, on a business or whatever. That's kind of not my place to say, but,
Okay.
because he's well known, but
Okay.
at the same time, she uses him to, "Oh, I'm gonna take your company, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that."
Right.
So, what man doesn't get scared? He built that business.
Right. Right. Were they in business together? Him and the ex-wife?
No, no, no.
Okay. All right. So, now that how did you end it? I mean, how did you say finally, I'm done, I'm finished with you, I don't want anything to do with you anymore, leave me alone? How did you handle that part?
I just got tired of the inconsistency, like the avoidance, the abandonment, the after I confronted her and tell her who I was. He still came back, but he treated me ugly afterwards, and he still didn't want to let me go. I think if me leaving would have been an abandonment issue, probably from his childhood or something,
Hmm.
and then I would do it again, and we would go back and forth. But this time, and I'll be honest, it's been 3 days. I'm just tired of him snapping at me. I know he
Right.
has his personal life, but I deserve better. I'm not going to
Right.
let anybody disrespect me. I lost myself in this relationship. I gave my 100%,
Hmm.
and I just got tired. You get tired.
Right. Hearing your story, it's so, and you look like you wasted. I think you told me in our pre-interview with him for like 10 months. 10 months of your life you're never going to get back. Right.
10
You
months
wait.
in my life.
Yeah, you wasted your time.
I
You
think
know.
I've learned in this relationship that I had with him was self-worth, self-love. I think I had my own issues as being, abandoned when I was a little girl,
Hmm.
not intentionally. My parents were just little party animals. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right. Right.
no, you have that, and my father passed away so early, so I felt abandoned. And with relationships like that, I think he helped me grow. Like, I'm
Hmm.
not even mad at him for doing all those things like that. I think I've learned to accept it is what it is, and God gave me a heart to love someone that never been loved correctly.
Right.
And that's how I see it, and that helps me with my healing journey to move forward, because the next relationship I do get involved, I know better. I know how to handle myself, not to give 100% to someone right away. So
Right.
I've grounded myself in that situations.
Okay. And so moving forward, how would you handle this in a different way? If you see another woman, a friend of yours going through something similar, so what would you tell her? What kind of advice would you give her from what you've learned through this relationship?
I would ask questions like, what is your status? Like, be honest. I'm very honest with you. Just lay the cards on the table. What do you bring to the table? This is what
Hmm.
I bring. If
Right.
that's something you can't deal with, then let's stop right here. Let's not
Yeah.
waste each other's time. I think
Right.
today's society, everybody wants to be in situationships or cheaters or who can hurt who. And
Hmm.
it's just easier for men to have access to women than what it used to be when we were young, right? Because
Right.
I'm 47, and so social media opens that door up for men so they feel like, oh, I have a lot of options. So I just think, to take your time and figure this person out before you start telling don't ever tell a guy your triggers. Don't ever tell them your past life, what you've been
Mm,
through, because they do throw that, especially if they're narcissists, manipulators, and avoidance.
very true. Very true. All right, listeners, you hear that? Don't do that. I mean, ask questions. Most important thing, ask questions and get answers before you involve. I guess the moral of the story is ask questions before you get too involved into it, then it's harder for you to get out, right?
Yeah, definitely. You want to know who they are, what their background is, what they've been through. Don't give yourself too much of your time. It's okay to chase, but as women, we have to hold ourselves. I think us in this generation, we give so much to men,
Hmm.
and they think, oh, let me breadcrumb her, let me gaslight her, and oh, I can do whatever I want, and then have another one, and you just
Right.
everybody needs to just self-respect, love yourself, see your worth, and once you see those red flags, run.
And do a background check, right?
Oh, background check. Yep. I have a perfect cousin that I can call and do a background check for me.
Yeah, yeah, you're very lucky to have that. But yeah, I think background checks, people can bring something to the table when you can listen to them. But I think at the end of the day, you got to do some homework on, hey, look, because you're right. There's so many things on the internet, and you don't know what's real and what's not real. And you've got to, as a woman, single female, you've got to kind of do some homework and make sure this is the right fit for you.
Yeah, definitely. If you got children involved, your kids fall in love with that person, or they may not like them, or
Hmm.
it's a trap out there sometimes,
Right.
but you can't fear love. You just got to find the right person for you and take your time. It's okay to take time and ask questions and get to know that person, and don't sleep with them right away because you don't know where they've been, like sexually
Don't
or
know.
even spiritually. I believe, when you share your body with someone, you pick up their souls, and I think
Yeah.
intimacy is very important. You have
Yes.
to have respect for yourself.
Got to. You got to do it. Okay. Well, team one, thank you for sharing your story with us today. And just know that moving forward, I'm sure you'll do more homework so that your soul and your heart can stay safe before you give it to somebody else. And
Yes.
I think you've learned a lesson, and I think our listeners will learn a lesson also based on your experience. So thank you so much for sharing that today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you so much. All right, Tina, thank you so much for being part of the show. And ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank our sponsors for being part of our show today. Also, we want to thank Mr. Juan Hernandez with the Juan Hernandez Law Firm for sponsoring the show today. Thank you so much. If you've been in a car accident, contact him at 214-900-0000 or visit him at juanlaw.com. And also want to thank Miss Victoria Nuave. If you're thinking about a divorce, child custody, any family issues, contact her at 214-391-5555. And of course, thank this guy, Detective Gomez. That's me. If you got someone cheating on you, background checks, contact me. I'll be more than glad to help you and help you get where you got to go. All right. Take care. Be safe. And I'll see you next time on Beyond Cheaters, the Detective Gomez.
This is Detective Gomez, everybody. He'll uncover everything that you're hiding. This is Detective Gomez, everybody. Watch out, he'll know if you're lying. This is Detective.